Hey, what's up, family? Kyle on site here with my boy, Nick Swizek. We're here giving you some Inside the Empire podcast material. We want to get inside Nick's brain, learn a little more about his business, his operation, his processes, and just learn more about you, your upbringing, and your marketing strategies. You're pretty big here locally. You have a good reputation here in the Valley. And we want to learn how you got there. So tell us a little bit, man. Where'd you grow up? Where's your upbringing?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Hemet, California. So, people will say, ask me if I'm a gang member because I grew up there, right? Just kidding. Can't spell Hemet without meth, right? No, grew up in Hemet, played sports there, ended up going to college for baseball at Boila University. Graduated there, went to law school.
Wait, hold on. Did you graduate there? Because
I did.
You guys, they're gonna have to stay to the end so we can actually hear. But technically, you don't have your diploma, but you graduated, right?
Yeah, I have 2 degrees from Boila University, and there's a little hiccup at graduation at the ceremony because I flashed a shirt.
What?
Again.
Well, we gotta cut that.
Yeah,
cut it out. We're gonna restart that.
We'll keep that till the end. But yeah, it's a funny story for sure. And then they're asking for donations now, but we'll leave that for the end, right?
All right. Make sure you guys stay. This funny story is gonna be great.
And then, from there, I was going to school to become I wanted to become a politician later on. And that's still in, the plans later on in life. I want to get into the political sphere. But right after Boila, I took my LSAT and, I did, a semester of law school in Irvine. And, I just really didn't like it. There's more student debt, compiling at that point. And
right.
I remember one of my buddies, we were driving up to one of his baseball games in San Diego, and he shows me a picture of his brother. Who is a real estate broker. And he's like, dude, look at this check, man. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's nutty, bro. So I asked him, like, what does he do? He's like, he's in real estate. I'm like, what's real estate? I didn't really know much about it. Right. And he's like, oh, you just sell houses, dude. If you know how to talk to people, then you'll be fine.
That's what they all say, right?
So immediately I go and I sign up. I paid like $180 to get, the licensing courses and that. And I just ran through it. I Quizleted everything on, online. Everyone's like stressing out over it. It's like, no, it just matters about the test. Anyway, 5 months or whatever it was, I think it was like 3 months later, I was a real estate agent, and I passed my test, super excited, and come back and I got my license hung at Better Homes and Gardens, and then I didn't know what I was supposed to do at that point, right? So I
Better Homes and Gardens,
yeah, the only place I really knew of, and I didn't really know much of how I was supposed to go about real estate. How do I get business? And I just kept hearing this word like leads. You got to get leads. And, leads, I found out, really quickly that they're just expensive phone numbers in all reality. So, it was really tough, for me to get any business. And then all of a sudden I get a listing, the weirdest thing. And that came from cold calling. I bought this thing called Red X and got a listing. Fell out of escrow 4 times. It took 5 months to close, something like that. Was my only listing at that point.
All right, so your first listing, this is your experience, like fresh into real estate?
Fresh into real estate. And there's a notice of default on the house.
Nice.
So these people were going to lose their house unless I sold it. And here I go, no DocuSign. These people couldn't really, they didn't have emails. So everything was in person.
Oh, man.
Hey,
let's bring that back real quick. That's a huge inconvenience for you today, but let's talk about your grandpa and our great-grandparents and what they used to have to do. Hey, back in the day, they actually used to fly birds across states to send messages.
Yeah, that's rowdy.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
we got DocuSign now. The automation,
yeah,
those tools are amazing. But I will say, when we can't use them, it sucks.
dude, it was crazy, bro. And then, 3 brokerages later, so I kept transferring this to another brokerage because I just wanted to learn so much. And whenever I found something better, and then my second one, I had a good mentor, but she was just really good at her job.
Right.
Wasn't the best teacher, and that's okay. She was just super busy. One of the best agents out here, actually. She's super good. And then I came to a Remax where literally they taught me everything I know. And
that a good training program.
I mean, and that's the thing is.
So can we jump into that real quick? Sorry to cut you off. Because I do know my mom's a real estate agent. I'm a real estate investor. I understand real estate. I got a million realtor friends, right?
Yeah.
Let's discuss that real quick. You went to 3 different brokerages. Let's talk about the support that you got at each different brokerage real quick. I just want 2 minutes. Better Homes and Garden, sounds like they didn't really provide you,
I mean,
what you needed at that time.
They, you know what, and I'll tell you what, they, their brokers and stuff are great people. Don't get me wrong. They're good, but it just wasn't the best spot for me, for sure. And then I went to ERA, Donahoe Realty, and some of the sweetest people I know. I made a lot of good friends there still to this day, but at that point, I didn't really understand the concept of making money through the business, really.
Right.
All I knew was let's research, because that's my personality. I just want to learn everything and kind of just jump into everything head first, and but I'm analytical at the same time, so I think of everything that can go wrong. And then my mentor there sent me to Remax, and it was an experience for sure, because what they taught me was it's not necessarily the leads you get, but it's how you take them and convert them. So
nurturing.
Yeah, so what they had me do is my broker at that time, he got me a dialer. It's called the Mojo dialer, and it calls 3 lines at once. And you outline a neighborhood, and he's like, okay, just sit down and call people, have conversations. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And here's a script. And I would just get told to screw off all the time, or I just sounded so nice. And it got to a point where it just defeating, dude.
Right.
I mean,
and no, not interested. Shut up, you're an idiot. Yeah. Hey, why the heck? Right. Every call, it just get worse, and then people start calling you all these crazy names, and you're like, whoa, man, chill out, dude. I'm just trying to help you sell a house, buddy.
Yeah, but it got to a point where I was doing it so much that it just became second nature. Yeah. Because I mean, imagine doing that for 5, sometimes 6 hours a day, just 5 to 6 days a week. Just sitting there with I bought a headset. That was my biggest investment, right? Yeah. Still have that same one, and literally just sitting there talking to people. And then finally I caught traction a little bit with it, and then I realized it's this started off with a conversation. That's it. And from there, my broker introduced me to it's weird, it's sales, but it's not. It's have you heard of neuro-linguistic programming?
Yeah, of course.
So so he
it's just all psychology is all it is.
Yeah, it's
how sales is psychology.
Yeah, so it is sales, and people that say it isn't sales, it's disingenuous. This whole business is sales.
Yeah,
you have to sell yourself.
100%. You have to. Life is sales. Let's get that straight first and foremost. Life is sales and marketing. What do guys do before they go out, and what do girls do before they go out? They do their hair, they do their makeup, they get all pretty, they spray their cologne, right? They're marketing themselves, right? For all the single ladies and for all the single men out. Dude, marketing. They're out there trying to sell and trying to close a deal, right? From the time we were born, we've been trying to close. And I'll tell you what, kids are the best sales reps. My daughter is freaking the best. She's the ultimate negotiator. Yeah. So life is all about sales, man.
I really agree, and it came down to I got so interested in this program that he paid for, and I just took full advantage of it, and it taught me language patterns, taught me how to have, it was the power of communication, really, because that's all it is. 100%. So I came to this understanding that everyone that you do deals with, it's someone that you I'm gonna use this word vibe. You just vibe with them, and it's a connection. And once you lose that disconnect, then you got to get it back on track, or else they're not gonna enjoy the process with you. And then I started realizing this is how I transitioned into lending. So I left that brokerage, and I that's another lesson, by the way, is I really wish I would have left that brokerage on better terms. And I think part of it was my just immaturity at that point. Meaning, it's not that I wouldn't say I did anything wrong. I just feel like things should be done in person rather than over the phone most of the time. And it's not even just over the phone, but more so like you want to make rational decisions. You know what I mean? Not emotional all the time.
Of course.
Even if it's over the phone, make sure it's rational. But, that was one thing, and I appreciate these brokers for everything. I kind of lost communication with them, but
yeah,
those guys are who taught me like everything that I guess I am today. And I'm not even where I want to be at, but I mean, they gave me more confidence as a human being than, it goes beyond just, business. So
right.
Appreciate that.
I get
pressure.
I understand. And that's the importance of having good mentors, right? Like, and let me just say, like, they didn't teach you everything, bro. I'm sure you've got a lot of good nuggets. I'm sure you've self-taught. I'm sure I know that you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
You read. I mean, I know you're doing your due diligence. So
Yeah.
you had to put in the work and the time, and you've had additional influences from the time that you were a kid between your family, your friends, your social upbringings, all of that. So, but I understand exactly what you're saying. I had a great mentor as well. And that's what helped me be top 1% sales producer across the nation when I was working for Paychecks.
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, he was the number one in the company, like, multiple years.
Yeah.
And I just mimicked what he did. And it sounds like you did the same here. You were just mimicking the blueprint that they already had, right?
Yeah, and it got to a point where I just wanted to be like him so much, and I saw the confidence that he, just emulated throughout the day and how he went about sales. I mean, here's what it really comes down to: sales is like, you can't be afraid of, like, for example, you can't be afraid to step on anyone's toes in this business.
Yep.
You know why? Is because if you look at your own feet, there's going to be bruises all over it. They're going to do the same thing to you.
100%.
You can't be afraid to ask the hard questions, because if you beat around the bush, they're going to think you're hiding something, and it's better to get everything out of the way first and find out all the problems first rather than finding them out at the end of a transaction,
Yeah.
or
absolutely.
Finding the real root of the reason why they quote unquote don't want to work with you.
Right.
Not
the smoke screen.
Yeah. I'm not, I wasn't about that, but I started looking at it and how I got into lending. So I left there, went to another brokerage. I started noticing that my lender, that I primarily used for everything, all of my clients like loved her, dude, like more than me.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck, man? Like, she's the sweetest lady in the world, but it's like, she's like, oh my God, we talk to her every week, this and that. I'm like, well, shoot, like I never talk to you. Like, and part of that's on me for sure, but they just rave about her. So I'm like, gosh, like I'm definitely like a more system oriented person, and I wanted to scale a business, and you can still scale real estate, don't get me wrong, but did I love it? No, I didn't really like real estate that much, even though I think it's a good business,
Yeah,
but
like just showing people's houses.
Yeah.
Most people aren't very passionate about it. They do it for the income.
Yeah, which is perfectly fine.
That's why there's a million realtors out there, right? Like,
yeah.
And that is fine. That's great. Hey.
Yeah, and I
only 1% of them produce anyways. So they just hang a license in a brokerage.
Yeah.
The rest.
And even on the loan side, man, it's like I just view this as a vehicle, really, because that's what it is. You don't
100%.
have to love it, but because I can say the same thing about loans. Like, I don't necessarily love the process of every loan. But that's why you want to put systems in place to, alleviate the stress of it. Because then you start viewing it as a vehicle that can take you places and generate income by the work you put on the car, for example, rather than just driving it everywhere like an Uber rider. It's like, I'd rather hire an Uber rider, or Uber driver, I'm sorry.
I understood what
you know what I mean? So, so what happened was I realized when I got licensed in real estate, I also did my NMLS, so the loan licensing I took the course the same time because I thought I needed both. So I paid for both. I didn't realize that. So it was more than $180 actually. So I looked at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's still here. So I just have to take my test.
Nice.
So went and took my test. But as I was doing that, my lender at the time, she was so happy. And that's another thing. She was so happy I was getting into loans. And I was, an agent that sent everything to her. So it's like that just being so genuine about it, like meant so much to me because she actually sat down with me and taught me the fundamentals of it. And, her loans, I would like look at it and she would teach me what to do here, this and that. So I was essentially like an LOA to an extent. And I was at a direct lender at that point. I was at American Financial Network while my license was hung at Signature. And it was hung at Signature and it was a big refi boom at that point. So, purchases were still good, but, I didn't really have any agents.
You're talking, what year was this?
2021,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, refis were big. So
refis were huge. That's all people were doing. Friggin'
yeah, and then as rates
refi them up,
right? and then I see like on social media or I see on just the news like rates are slowly starting to trickle up.
Yep.
And the media's like or not the media, social media's like, this is why it's better to use a broker. Right. I'm like, oh shoot, I have both licenses. Why wouldn't I just go under a broker? It'd probably be the better option. More options. Everything's wholesale, so you're gonna get better rates.
A little less liability.
Yeah, so it's it was a lot better, I thought, and then transitioned to the broker side and kind of just haven't turned back, But even then, man, I mean, it's just like I've learned so much, man, that you can work on your business or in the business and be hands on with every transaction, but it's just gonna drive you crazy, dude. Like I don't want to have gray hairs by the time I'm 40 one day, right? Yeah. So I mean, maybe that's natural, but let's just say 30 because I'm not 30. But but like it's better to stay late at the office working on other aspects of your business. And people will ask me because I'm on Instagram a lot, and I'll post stuff that I have a group that I have with friends, family, and real estate agents. I excluded lenders from it to show my systems, and people are like, "Why are you at the office at midnight?" It's like, because I want to make life easier for everybody. Right. Like, I'm not talking to clients at midnight. No, I'm just trying to working on stuff
on the business, not in the business.
Yeah. And that kind of ties into video marketing too, because like for example, like you can sit there and cold call as a lender, because I mean, and that's not a bad thing either. Right. You can still generate business from that, but videos and social media is there forever. 100%. Unless it gets canceled by someone. But Elon Musk has Twitter, so I think we're good there, right? And
so you're talking about being able to just take a quick video, post it for free, and 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people see it, and you just got some free marketing. You didn't make 100 calls to 100 people. You didn't have to sit there and waste a whole 8-hour day of just dialing freaking brain out, right? And you just posted a video and got the impressions, right?
And it's funny, a lot of agents had been telling me prior or earlier this year, like, dude, you need to get on social media. One of the first teams that took a chance on me was the Z team from Signature, and they were big into video marketing. They still are, and they told me, they're like, dude, you need to get your face on camera. I'm like, nah, I'm good. They're like, dude, you're a young guy. Like, why don't you just do it? So like I started doing it, and I started realizing I'm like, this is the best way to leverage information that to a wider scale of people.
Right.
And here's the thing is, people are always on their phones, especially now. That was another thing too. I started looking at the market.
You're on your phone right now, or your computer, or maybe you're listening on podcasts. And like, chances are you're watching this on your phone.
But I started like looking around, like, so rates are going up. The world's in shambles apparently, and people are stressing out because of what the market used to be. They have recency bias, or not recency bias, but like they recency feelings. They felt how great it was these past 2 years, and now they're down in the dumps. And when I mean down in the dumps, meaning they're just looking at their phone. So my whole thought process is like, why don't I just stay in front of their face all the time when their faces are on their phone?
Yeah.
Like, seems pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
You know?
If you go to your phone, and this is a good test. This is what everybody can do, all right? Go to your phone and see how much screen time you have. And look at your average screen time. Go do that,
Yeah.
and let's just see. Let's just see how much time. And then ask yourself, like, where should I be investing my marketing time and marketing dollars?
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Where's my time going? And then ask 5 people around you.
yeah.
Right there, you'll have all the market research you need.
I mean, that dude, it's so true. I mean,
Smart.
my screen time, it pops up every day. Actually, it tells me my my average, and
Same.
it's actually a lot. My average is a lot of hours, but I do a lot of work for my phone. You know, so that's kind of how that front works for sure. And
Most people are on social media though for 1 to 3 hours a day.
it's nutty, right?
1 to 3 hours a day. So I mean, if that's why they say you should be posting multiple times,
Yeah,
right? Post in the morning and in the afternoon.
yeah,
If you're 1 to 3 times a day, like,
yeah.
you could get in front of your potential buyer 1 to 3 times every single day. They could see your face. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Well, how powerful is that?
So, but I used to be that guy that didn't like social media because I would look at other realtors that in all reality I was actually jealous of. Looking it back, I'm like, okay, why are these people getting all this business when I work my my butt off to get the little I get? That's how I was thinking of it in the beginning.
Right.
And you got people taking pictures next to cars that aren't theirs, or jets that they rented. But it's like that's their style, bro. Like if it's generating income for them, like why wouldn't they do it?
If it works, right?
Yeah. So I kind of got into this impression, or not impression, but I got into this understanding that however you do it, you just gotta worry about your own self. You have to stay in your lane and do what works for you.
Build your brand.
Yeah. And don't worry about everyone else's brand.
Exactly.
Because then you'll start living your life for other people. Yeah. And my biggest thing that I learned over this year, was, you have to find a niche, whether that's a style or the niche of, loans you want to do. For example, like for me, I love self-employment loans. I love reading people's taxes because it fascinates me seeing other people's line of work. To be honest with you, I'm not nosy, but
yeah.
And I love calculating income. I think it's a blast. So I still do that. But
I love the business thing too. That's why I have a marketing company. I get to work with all the different businesses.
Yeah, and then it ties into also, me not loving the whole process of loans, but I love the idea in implementing things to grow a vehicle, and watching it grow. It's almost like watering a garden, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah. And that's another thing. And with social media marketing, you're not always going to see instant results, but you definitely can. I don't think anything's impossible. What if someone just puts their first video out and they get like 2 deals from it? It's like, that cost you nothing.
It happens.
Yeah.
It does happen. It doesn't happen for everybody, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is what I know and I can guarantee happens, is when you do it consistently and you do it for 6 to 12 months, the algorithm starts becoming favorable to you.
Yeah.
They start pushing your content in front of more people.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the impressions you want, and your business is going to grow from it.
Dude, and that's really what it is, man. And it's so crazy. So I didn't start seeing results right away. And, my target audience is real estate agents. It's not even, people wanting to buy or sell a house. I want to work with real estate agents because, not only are they the ones that send me referrals, but real estate agents, I want to be able to help their business by getting their marketing out. We have a studio at my office as well, and I do a similar kind of thing, like a podcast. And it's not just for agents, it's for other businesses. Like I'm having a wedding planner and a photographer. They're a married couple. I'm having them on first thing in January. And
awesome.
Why wouldn't I want to help push out other people's business?
Yeah. Especially local in the community, right?
Yeah.
That's like, I know you're big on community, and you're big on being involved here locally. So and a lot more local faces.
Yeah, and it comes down to this quote that I read. And have you ever read Zig Ziglar's View from the Top?
No, I haven't. I've read quite a few of his books, but not that one.
Yeah, so one of the quotes it says is like, give others what they want and you'll get what you want. And it's just so simple, dude.
It is.
But realistically, when you put it in that perspective, it's like, it makes you want to give to other people. I mean,
Right.
from a genuine place is really what you want it. You don't want to do it for self-interest all the time or at any other time. But, it comes down to a point where
Here's the thing. You don't need to do it for self-interest, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the best thing. God made this earth.
Yeah.
And everything comes full circle. It always does. Every time. 100% out of 100%.
I totally agree.
So when you put other people's needs before your own,
Yeah.
it's going to come full circle. I'm not putting their needs before my own because I expect something in return. I'm doing it because I know that this is how God wants me to live, right?
I agree.
And when you do that and you live that way and you start genuinely and truly adopting that lifestyle,
Yeah.
everything around you starts to change.
Mm-hmm.
And then God starts bringing the people to the team and to your doors.
Yeah.
And I've seen it with my team.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got a team. We're a bunch of believers around here. Like my whole team, like every single one of us. And God just started bringing people here, like people reaching out through the woodworks. Like, dude, I can't even tell you, and I will share that story. I'm actually excited to share that story one day. Yeah. But how Marketing Empire Group and how our team came together. But
yeah, and speaking on that topic too, man, I mean, like, so God has been huge in my life from, I'm a pastor's kid, so we're the worst, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Family.
Little rebel, you.
Yeah, you had no sisters, all brothers. So we're just, a test-filled house, I guess you can say. And, I was, when I got in this business, people don't really see what goes on behind the scenes. And all they see now is me on camera. They don't see all the work that goes into it, now. Because, I still, I work my butt off in this. But even before that, when I was in real estate, I told you I was making all those cold calls. Well, how you cope with that stress is really, it's really important to, stay level-headed and also
decompress.
Yeah. So what it did for me was it drove me to alcoholism, actually. So I was a functioning alcoholic for a while in real estate. Yeah. And, it was rough. I mean, I can't say I was sloshed all the time, but, I would wake up in the morning and, go to the gym every day. And when I would go in the morning and then I'd go to the office and I would literally just, be taking shots or mixing energy drinks with vodka the whole time, just because I was so, like, I didn't want to feel the pain of rejection. I hated that.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where, one of my really good friends in the business, her name is Cindy, she told me, she's like, I can smell this on you. I'm like, smell what? She smelled the vodka in my mouth.
Yeah.
And it really, it was embarrassing, dude, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's getting this bad, right? And then, I got off of it for a little bit and then got back on. I started, like, stressing out over that. And then, it's crazy that, at the beginning of, towards the beginning of this year of 2022 is when I fully, like, pretty much stopped. Meaning, like, I'll have wine here and there, like, because I actually like red wine. But,
yeah,
I really had to come to a conclusion that this is like taking years away from my life. And then, when you start reading the Bible and, for example, your body's your temple. God gave me this body, gave me this life. Why would I want to, damage it and drink my sorrows away? And at the same time, put my foot in my mouth every time I'm talking to somebody because my judgment is just thrown out the window. Be one of a sober mind. And, from that, moment on when I came to that conclusion, like, I can't even tell you what month it happened. I just haven't been, I guess you can say, I don't even really drink ever. Like, I'd never drink. Yeah. So,
awesome.
But yeah, so, I mean, that's another thing,
Good
man.
for you, man. Congrats on that.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that too.
Oh, of course, man. I mean,
transparency.
Well, oh yeah. And I have no shame in that, but, like, it was a dark place, dude. It's like, because, and I didn't even realize it because I was just drinking so much that I didn't know how, I didn't know what I was feeling.
Right.
That's another thing my broker, yeah, I numbed it. And my broker from Signature told me the same thing. And she told me, Susan Ebert, love her to death. She's like, you'll never know what you're actually feeling if you're constantly numbing it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. And then, I would always give her updates. I'm like, hey, I'm good now, I'm good, and then hop back on it, and then now it's like I don't even crave it. What I had to do was use psychology. Like whenever I see like whiskey or vodka was my worst thing is I associate that with a headache and nausea. So if I even smell it now, I'm like, oof, this is disgusting, bro. But for me,
that's huge. I just want to jump into that real quick.
Yeah.
Association is really important. Being able to take something that once was looked at as like a need, a desire, and a consistent one, and being able to turn that in psychologically, right? Like you said, like, so here's something, and my dad recently, he told me this one. It's like, every time you go past McDonald's or Burger King, he said, start training your daughter. That's poison. And not just your daughter, yourself too. We should all do it. But that's poison. Don't go there. Poison, right? And start calling it poison, right? Because we're going to start associating it with poison. So in order to change things, this is really big, and this is big on NLP. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. Like all these guys, Zig Ziglar, they're all them. Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
They're all this. They all come from the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
It's number one, God, right? But number two, it's the psychology.
Yeah.
Right. And so really, it's understanding how to use your brain, and that's just a tool that you were given.
Yeah.
Right. To be able to associate that with that. So great tool that you just gave these viewers, man. That tool is one of the best tools of all time. Make sure you use it. If you're struggling with addiction or struggling with something, you have to associate enough pain with it in order for change to come.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what you did. You were associating pain like, I got a headache, like every time I drink that. So there has to be enough pain.
Yeah.
Because until there's enough pain, you're not going to change.
Yeah. And it's just, and it's like a sense of freedom, dude. I get, so for me, like my personality is I just kind of go all into everything. I'll don't really think of anything else now. And, I think really clearly when I do it, but I guess you can say I'm a go-getter. I just really I have a vision and I just want to accomplish it. No matter if that's a conversation with somebody.
You're a visionary.
Yeah. I want to, but, what amplified that was freedom of confinement of an outside substance that had control over my life. And, people ask me now, like, dude, why do you seem so energetic and happy? And I just flat out tell them, it's like, dude, because I'm free. I'm free now.
Yeah.
I don't have to rely on something else giving me energy or, confidence in any of that. And, I see life through a whole new lens of a sober mind. And
that's awesome.
It just really, that was my biggest accomplishment when I really look at it is overcoming addiction. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You no longer held bondage to the traps that Satan sets in this world, right?
Right. I'm telling you, dude.
It's all just a bunch of traps.
It is.
And at the end of the day, you said something that was really important, that you no longer have the desire, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you had the tools and you implemented an association of the headache with, the whiskey, but truly what took the desire away was God.
Oh, for
your
sure.
freedom and your freedom in Christ. And so I know, because I've been there and I've had my struggles and smoked a lot and drank a lot and I did a lot of drugs and partied a ton, right?
Like what?
We've all had our my 20s, my early, no, even before my 20s. I got it done early though, thank God. I was blessed. I got it all done prior to 22 pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but 100% like our freedom's in Christ, man.
Yeah.
And that's what removes the bondage. And we just have to remind ourselves that, and our community, like, hey, you're free in Christ. Satan doesn't have a hold on you.
Yeah.
You gotta let those chains go. Unstrap yourself. You're holding them yourself. Let them go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's another thing too about, I like this topic about, our faith. And, people that are questioning if God is real or, why they're unhappy, or they feel like, Yeah, or if they feel like if they feel like there's an inconsistency in their life, you know.
Yeah.
I put this on Instagram the other day. It's like, okay, so let's look at the psychology of it. You know, if man is imperfect and God is perfect, why would we have our foundation of belief in man and trust in man when that's always going to lead down an inconsistent path? If that makes sense.
Yep.
You know, if God is perfect, then trusting in him is the only way to have a consistent life, consistent answers, being led by the Spirit. And when you put it in that perspective, it's like, because what really brought that up for me to post is I posted a scripture, trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. And someone commented back there, like, I'm really having trouble trusting the Lord right now. Sometimes it's hard to trust the Lord.
That's awesome.
And then that's when I started thinking of it like Aristotle almost, like, just laying it out into, segments and like, okay, well, I wouldn't trust in man unless God used him or him or her, whatever, as a tool to trust in, because God does send
100%.
people,
Yep. Agreed. He uses us. He uses his creation.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, man. Like, and I'll be the first to tell my audience, like, I'm a sinner and I make mistakes. I drop the ball, right? Like, you can't trust in me 100%. We all make human error, and that's what we call it. There's a reason it's called human error, right?
Yeah.
And because we're human and we're just natural sinners. And it's funny because we know that. Like, everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Right? And whether or not you acknowledge it and accept it,
yeah,
and want to change it and look for a solution for it, which is found in Jesus and in the Bible, is another topic. But
yeah. I mean, it's almost the equivalent of this. Like, this is gonna sound weird when I say this, but if God's all knowing, man is imperfect, and we're forgiven, our sins are forgiven, we're saved by grace, and in God's eyes, a lot of the time we don't know any better in some sense because we are imperfect. I mean, we do know better because we do have a sound mind, but at the same time, he forgives us and he died on the cross for us because, he is all knowing.
Yep.
At that point. I'm trying to explain that in a weird way, but
no, I understand it. He's look, past, present, and future sins he died for. He already knows what you're gonna sin next year. He knows your sin tomorrow. Like, he knows what you're about to do in 5 minutes. Like, he already knows, and your sin's already been forgiven for that, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is just don't get held bondage to those sins. Don't become addicted. Don't let Satan continually set the trap in front of you every single day. Like, that's the thing, is God knows we're going to fall. God knows we're going to stumble. God is allowing those traps to be set at certain instances, right? Like, he allows Satan to do certain things and test in certain ways. And so just know that God's there. God's on the throne. He's going to pick you right back up.
Yeah.
But don't keep jumping into Satan's trap. Like, stop. You got to stop the crazy cycle.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's a generational, they call it a generational curse, right?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes you just got to change the generation and be that next.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're all given opportunity. It's better if we go out and take it at that point.
That's great. Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time here. I want to go over a couple things, like and then I want to finish with your story. But you left us with some really good stuff. Processes and automations are really important to you. Being able to streamline, working on the business in those after hours, right? Not inside the business. Those are key hours for you and critical to your growth, it sounds like. Sales and marketing are in your DNA, right? You learned it at an early age. You understood the importance, and then you understood the psychological side of sales and marketing. So you really even took a step further. You did the NLP training and just became an expert in psychology, which is sales and marketing. I think, right? And
it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool, man. Well, that's all great. I got a couple quick questions for you. What are your goals the next 6 to 12 months?
Okay.
I'll start with that one.
I mean, well, shoot, I want to have a killer year. I feel like putting a metric on it in terms of like a financial goal on it, I feel like I can supersede it, so I don't want to throw out a number. But by next year, I want to buy a house next year. I think it'd be awesome. That's going to be a really big stepping stone. I want to buy a house. I'm really expecting to have a killer year next year. I really am. I want to, build more relationships with other agents, and not just not just like the ones that are already producing. I want to help people become really good producers by influencing them in good ways, by helping not just motivate them but get them dedicated to their craft, because even during the downtimes you can turn that energy into positive energy, if that makes sense.
100%. This is what I'll say in the downtimes. And for all of you who are out there saying recession, pull back, like things are gonna get bad, look, the businesses that are successful today, a large percentage of them were built and born in recessions.
Yeah.
Right? You look at like some of these top tech companies built in a recession. So here's what's going to happen. And here's what's happening, because we're seeing it. And I can tell you because I have the data. Clients are going to their P&Ls and they're looking for ways to cut their budget.
Yeah.
And they're cutting their marketing. Marketing's easy to cut. That's the easiest expense to go cut, right?
Yeah.
But that's your bloodline. Like, you're cutting your bloodline.
Yeah.
Here's the good news. All these realtors that are pulling back on their marketing, these loan officers, all of these other businesses, these contractors and doctors and dentists and lawyers, everybody that's pulling back their marketing expenses, right? They're losing market share. They're not gaining market share.
Yeah.
The ones who are increasing their marketing budgets and increasing their marketing, pushing out more, they're gaining not just what they normally would, right? They're gaining all of this market share that these guys are giving up.
Yeah.
Right? So be the business to take market share during these times. That's my recommendation.
Yeah.
Be the business to take market share.
Full out of steam, bro.
You've got to.
When times are tough.
Double down. When times are tough, when people are talking about it, when it's on the news, when you hear recession,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
double down on your marketing. That's the only way.
Yeah.
That is the only solution.
Yeah.
Because here's the case. You pull back on your marketing, you cut the bloodline and blood supply, you're losing those leads.
Yeah.
Your branding and identity, your local presence isn't what it was.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the business that you even used to, right?
Yeah.
Let alone with the market change and the decrease in business, you just cut a double loss at that point, right?
Yeah.
Killing yourself, business owners. Don't do it.
I agree.
Don't do it. All right, cool. So let's finish with this. Let's hear your story, graduation story. I'll just let you tell the story.
Yeah. So well, you guys already know the university that it is, but great university. But
we love you, Boila.
So on graduate, they had asked me to
give him his degree though.
Yeah, they had asked me for an apology letter for something else, and I had to do it. And I forgot what it was. I think it was because what was it, my second year there, third year there? I brought a 30 rack of beers into the dorms. So I wrote them the apology letter, and that's when I was going down that path of drinking and just this and that. But anyway, I bought a Spanish textbook. Oh, this adds on to it, 'cause it's not just for that. But I bought a Spanish textbook that you can write in, and I returned it, and they don't have it on file, and it's like, for what it was, they're trying to charge me like $100 for it or something like that. So that's another reason why they haven't given me my diploma. But the main reason is because I paid that. I paid that off. I'm like, here you go, take the $100. Is on graduation day, under my cap and gown, I had a Make America Great Again shirt on, and I told my buddies, I'm like, hey guys, and I'll post the video for you guys too. I'll show it to you guys. On the video, they called my name, and I go across the stage. I shake the dean's hand, and I just to the whole crowd. It was it was not, I can't say it was televised, but there was live streamed the graduation, and we're all in different majors, like we're all seated differently,
right? And
I got booed by some. And then I got like applauded by others, and I remember like I'm like, well, where the hell's my diploma at? I have 2 degrees here, and apparently I have to write an apology letter to them for. I wish I still had the letter, but they said it was insensitive. I'm like, insensitive, okay, for, exercising my freedom of speech and just my own personal opinion. I guarantee if someone did it with a Joe Biden shirt that, they would have gotten applause.
Oh, they would have been like,
yeah. So, I'm just like thinking in my mind, I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to confine to you guys for, infringing on my First Amendment rights. I'm not doing that. It's a joke.
wow,
So, yeah.
that's unfortunate. But I think after this goes viral, they might give you your diploma.
They might get,
I think they owe you an apology.
I think they do too. Yeah, I really do.
They owe you an apology.
And then,
didn't you pay them like a lot of money to go to their school and get that degree? I think you guys owe this man an apology. I'm just saying. Let's make this go viral. Let's get it.
Well, they probably forgot about it too, because here's another thing too.
Of course.
Yeah, they probably don't give a crap, honestly. So my Boila email, they actually deactivated too. So I can't even go back and look at any of my old emails or anything. In my student loan statements were coming through that email. So I had to call my servicer and tell them to transfer it to another email, this and that. I didn't even know that they had started, like when they started, I didn't even know. They weren't calling me or nothing.
Dang.
And then finally I get a call from Sally Mae. They're like, hey, like, you have a payment you haven't turned in. I'm like, what? They're like, hey, we've been emailing it to you. Log on to it and deactivate it.
They didn't like you.
They erased history, man. But can I say one last thing on a last note? For new people coming into this business, and really, so just a little advice on this, and this is just raw, honest advice. One thing that I expected was, support from everybody, from friends, family, and I'm not saying I haven't gotten support, but like also people in the industry. Everyone expects people to, go out of their way to mentor you or, hold your hand.
Get under their wing and just show you all the ropes. Oh, yeah, exactly what you need to do.
And I'll be honest, like, it really doesn't happen unless there's some kind of financial obligation attached to it. And just so you guys know that, but you got to take into consideration that financial obligation could be worth a lifetime of skills.
Yeah.
You can learn so much through that, but
100%.
Meaning this is, don't get down because somebody isn't what you expected as a mentor or this and that, because that's how I was, and it really jaded me towards people, because people are going to tell you what you want to hear up front.
Of course.
But in all reality, like, they have to support their life and their family as well. So can't go in with that expectation, or else you're just going to get out of the business. It'll be a revolving door. Because in all reality, like you said earlier, you're going to learn so much stuff on your own that you're going to, everyone has the same story, not same story, but similar story. It's like, no one helped me and I learned on my own. What's wrong with that? If you're self-sufficient, that's something to be proud of. Having a good mentor is great, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, don't expect someone to just hand you business all the time.
Yeah. Of course.
So.
Agreed. If you do need a good mentor, though, I'm the guy for you.
This guy right here, man.
I would love to help mentor anybody that's looking to get mentorship in business, sales, and marketing. That's what I'm passionate about, is helping other people achieve their goals. So I actually have a journal. I'll give you one of the journals. It's called $1 Million Journal. And it's really built and based on goal setting and personal growth. So go over spiritual, mental, physical, financial, emotional, and relational goal setting and growth. So really, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, all right, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I agree with you on the mentorship side of things. I think it's really important. Yes, everyone needs a mentor. You should find a mentor. Don't rely on a mentor coming to you. Go find one. And as you said, you may have to pay for them.
Yeah.
It is well worth your money.
Mm-hmm.
I won't pay you, or I won't charge you if you want mentorship with us. But you will have to work and learn all about sales and marketing. So if that's not anything you're interested in, don't even hit me up.
Right?
Cool. Nick, thank you so much for coming on, man. I love your story. Love hearing all your experiences, getting inside your empire, jumping in your brain, learning about what you've gone through, your successes, the trials, the tribulations you faced. Thank you for sharing. Where can we find you?
Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok every once in a while. I don't even carry around business cards, to be honest with you,
All right.
because I just tap their phone and they go to my social media. So
All right.
just type Nick_Swizek and you'll find me there.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you guys for tuning in Inside the Empire podcast. We'll be back on next week. See you later.